everybody, it's Cindy the Scrapologist. In the last video I did some book plates using vintage postcards, and the tutorial that I was following from Somerset Studio showed a box that she made to house the vintage postcards, but there weren't any instructions. So I figured out the measurements and I made this gorgeous box for you all, and decorated the whole thing. And it's still a little wet, so it's going to be hard to open. But here's the inside, and here are the vintage book plates that I made in the other video. And it can house a whole bunch of vintage postcards. And this would be so fun for Happy Mail. I think this would be a really lovely gift. This tutorial includes two free freebies for you over in my Flickr account, which are listed below. I offered you two covers for this. Actually, let me open this back up again. This cover here, although I did decorate it. So this cover here and this cover here, these are both scans of antique books that are in my studio here. So I hope that you enjoy this tutorial. And if you do, would you please hit the like button down below, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so that you don't miss any free tutorials. Hitting the like button, commenting, all of that just helps my channel be seen so that I can continue to provide junk journal and papercraft tutorials to you. So thank you very much. Stay tuned for the tutorial. So the first thing that you want to do is measure your postcards, and mine measure 5.5 by 3.5 approximately, and you want to add 1/4 of an inch onto each of those measurements because you don't want these to be real super snug in the box where you can't get them out. So add 1/4 of an inch. And so when I do that, I get 6 by 4, which is going to be the bottom of my box. So cut a piece of chipboard or whatever you want to make your box out of. You could make it out of scrapbook paper. You could make it out of a cereal box, whatever you want. I want to have heavy-duty chipboard so that it's nice and sturdy. The way that I cut my chipboard is very simple. I've seen things online where people are really struggling to cut chipboard. I just use a metal ruler and I use my rotary cutter. Just this, I think you call this a quilting wheel, and I just go like this and go back and forth a couple of times, and it cuts really well. So it's really that simple. You don't need any special equipment. I do have a paper trimmer that can cut chipboard too, but for me that's the easiest way. So this is going to be the bottom, and then we have to do the sides of the box. So you want 2 long sides. Let me move this up, sorry. 2 long sides and 2 short sides. So they are going to be the same length as your bottom. And then I did these at 1 inch. I just wanted a shallow box. I didn't want a big, thick box because I want it to be full of postcards. So this particular one here is 6 by 1. And then you want to do the same thing on this side. This is going to be the width of your box bottom times 1 inch. So these two pieces here are 4 inches by 1 inch. And actually, is this one crooked? I think I cut that one a little off. I'll probably have to fix that one. Let me do that right now. There's just one little piece on the end, and you'll be able to see, I don't know if you can see that little tiny piece there where I cut this crooked. And I wouldn't have to go over so many times if I didn't. My blade is old. finish this with scissors because you do really want this to be square. Otherwise your box is going to be very wonky. I think that's better. Yes, okay. So now how do we get this to turn into this? It's very, very simple. What you want to do is take, you need a scrap piece of chipboard or paper or whatever you're using that's the same width as what you're using to construct your box, and that's going to help you determine spacing for your box. Okay, and you're also going to need some paper that's going to wrap around the sides of your box, so choose some paper. It can be scrapbook paper, or it can be craft. I'm going to use craft colored. You can use black, whatever you want. And so I'm using scrapbook paper thickness craft paper. And you want to cut, let me find my measurements here. Okay, you want to cut the two pieces that are the length here times 1 inch. So it's basically going to be the same as these two pieces, and then you're going to cut two pieces that are the same as these two pieces. So I'm cutting two of these that are 6 by 1 and two that are 4 by 1. So here we go. We actually have these pieces. So you have your chipboard, and then you have whatever you're using to cover your box with. So let's put this together. So the first thing, let's just do the sides. So what you're going to do, oh, I forgot to say, you want to fold these in half. Now, I have a scoreboard, and I'm going to use my scoreboard because it makes a nicer crease. But if you don't have a scoreboard, that's okay. Just fold these in half as best as you can. But if you have a scoreboard, you're going to score these at 1/2 inch on the short side. And then you can use double-sided tape or glue, whatever is your preferred medium. And if they're not completely completely even like this, like one end is a little longer than the other, one side, it's okay. Doesn't matter. So I'm going to put tape on these. Okay. So let me set these aside. You get the idea there. So what I like to do is do one side at a time. I'm going to take the tape off of one side and this is why it's nice to have a nice score there, because it makes it easier to place this. It shows you exactly where to place it. Just like that. Okay, so then you have that, and this is what it should look like. You should have this flap. Then we're going to take this and we're going to wedge it down next to the box. I don't know if this is going to show up on camera. You're not going to put it up on the chipboard. You're going to put it down next to the chipboard. You're going to put it on this piece of paper here, but all the way up against your other piece of chipboard. Like this. And fold this up. And then burnish. And if you didn't cut perfectly, it's okay. I'll just trim that off. And this is what you should have. And yes, you should have just a tiny gap there so that this will fold up properly. So let's do a long one, and then I'll do the other two sped up. Let's just do one more slowly. Put your double-sided tape on each side or glue, although it is easier with double-sided tape. Take one side off, fold it, crease it like that, and put it on your chipboard. Oh, my hands are having a hard time working today. Let me see. Let me flip it around. There we go. I'm right-handed and I was trying to do it left-handed. Okay, so this is what we have. This flap. And then we're going to take our long piece, take this tape off, wedge this cardboard, this chipboard down in next to the bottom. Fold this up, flip it over and burnish. And trim off any excess if you need to, but this one looks pretty good. So now I'm going to do the other two sides. Okay, it's starting to look like a box now, isn't it? So now we have to get these to stay up, and that's very simple. Let me just trim again here. Use this. So all we need some more scrap paper, and we need to have the paper be the height of each of these. So these are 1 inch wide, because what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece and we're going to wrap it around each corner. So 1 inch high by approximately 2 inches. So 4 pieces that are 1 inch by 2 inches. And here we have them. And then if you have a scoreboard, you want to score at 1 inch on the long side. If you don't have a scoreboard, just fold them in half this way, all 4 of them. Good. So we're going to take these, we're going to put tape or glue, and we are going to wrap these around each of these corners, like so. So let's put the tape on these. So these we're going to put on the same way that we put the sides on, just to remove the tape from one side first. Get them to a butt as best as you can. Actually, sorry, I forgot. I like to do it this way first. And I didn't cut properly, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of trimming, but that's okay. So I put this on here, and now I'm going to do this, but let me trim first. Probably would have been easier if I did like 1/8 of an inch under an inch, just so I don't have any overlap there. So you might have to trim a little bit if you didn't cut perfectly. But now we're just going to fold these, push these together, and when I like the way the corner looks, and then the other side goes over. And this doesn't have to be super neat. You can see mine's a little wonky the way I just trimmed it. That's okay, because, hang on, one thing I do want to do is, I'll show you. I don't want a big gap right here. Okay. So there's one corner. And let's do one more together, and then I'll speed the camera up. Remove the tape from one side. Put this on that side, and then close it up. Nope, I'm going to need to trim it just a little bit. There, and I'm very happy with the way that looks. Except I still have a little too much paper hanging over. And if that happens, just trim it off. And let's just do the other two sides. And there we have our box bottom. Now this technique will work with, you can make a box any size you want. Just measure whatever you want to put in the box. And I've made ones that are over 12 inches, 12, 13 inches wide. Big for large albums. It's okay. Just add, measure what you want to put inside and add 1/4 of an inch on each side. And then this technique works for any box you might want to make. So guess what? We get to do this again because now we have to make the top that's going to go over this. So we're going to do the same exact thing. We're going to measure, instead of measuring the bottom, well, we can still measure the bottom. So for the top, we need to add a little bit more width so that it fits nicely over the box bottom. So for the top, your base square there is going to be 4 1/8 by 6 1/4. So I am not going to go through the entire tutorial again and show you, because the top is exactly like the bottom. It's just different measurements. It's a little wider so that it can fit over the bottom without being too snug. So the measurements are below. The top is going to be 4 1/8 by 6 1/4. That's the square piece. And then your long side is going to be 1 inch by 4 1/8 of an inch. And you're going to cut 2 of those, and then you're going to cut your paper hinges, the same, 2 of those. And then the short sides are 1 inch by 6 1/4 inch. You're going to cut 2 of those, and then you're going to cut 2 pieces of paper for your hinges. So all the measurements are down below, and you're going to make the top exactly as you made the bottom. And then let's hope that the top fits because I didn't do a prototype like I normally do. So now the top should fit right over the bottom. And it does. Whew, yay. So there we have a box. So one of the things you can do is, it's a little hard to open. You could put a piece of ribbon across the bottom, and that helps get your items out and sometimes helps to lift the lid off. But I'm just going to leave it like this. But now we can put our postcards in, and there's our box. So let's decorate the box because we have these ugly sides that we want to cover. Because this is a little bit of a tight fit, whoops, this is the bottom. Because this is a little bit of a tight fit, on the box bottom, you don't want to use any thick paper. So I have a scrapbook paper pad here that is extremely thin. It's almost like it's the same weight as photocopy paper, like about 28 pounds. I'm not using regular scrapbook paper. And I think first let's do the top actually, and then I can pick what I want for the sides. So I have a freebie for you all. I did a couple of tops from books in my collection that I thought either one of these would look really pretty as the top. Also, this is from the book plates kit that that is a part of this tutorial that I'm doing. So if you buy the book plates kit, you will get this. And you can resize it. It's not this color. I was messing around with the color. I don't like the way this turned out, so I'm not going to use this one. But this is on a cream colored paper, and that would look really nice on the cover. But I think I'm going to use this one. I like this one the best. This would also be really pretty, and then you could put one of the labels from the library of labels on it, or you could actually take one of the cards, decorate, maybe put some paper on here, and put one of your postcards, decorated postcards, on the top, and that would look really nice too. So these two are available free in my Flickr account, and I'll put the link below so you can have these as freebies. Let me just cut these up. So I printed these off, and I was going to use this one, but I changed my mind, and I really like this one for the top of the box, and I think I'm going to use a couple of these for the inside of the box. I think that would look really nice. So let's put, you know what, I'm going to just write B for bottom and T for top because I keep forgetting which one is which. All right, so I'm going to put this on, and I'm going to need to ink it up a little bit on the edges. I'm going to use my double-sided tape because that's just what I prefer over glue. If you don't like, see, these are going to show, and if you don't want that look, you can cover the whole thing with paper. But this is just a prototype, and I don't want the tutorial to be 10 hours long, so I'm just doing it this way. That looks really nice, and then I'm just going to darkly ink up the edges of the box because it didn't fit perfectly. And that looks really nice. I love that. Okay, since I already have this already cut down, I think I just need to cut off a sliver. Oh, this is for the top. This is ready to go. Yeah, just need to cut a sliver off the bottom. Let's see how that fits. Perfect. For something like this, for the inside of a box, I do like to use glue because you can reposition it. But make sure you get good glue coverage so you don't have any bubbles. And then I just like to take my bone folder and just make sure that all the glue has good coverage and just get this down. Can also take this or a credit card or something like that and flatten it down. Okay, so far it's looking very nice. So now I do want to cover over the sides. And where'd my paper go? Here it is. I am using a really thin paper. This is about 28 pound, about the same as a photocopy paper, because you could use thicker paper on the outside, on the lid, but definitely on the inside you want something really thin here because it's going to get too bulky and then you're not going to be able to get your lid on. So let's find one that kind of goes with this. That would be pretty. But I'm not kind of in the flower mood for this box. I want this to look more vintagey. Definitely not telephones. Regular newsprint would look good. Could go with that. And I could go with a pattern. I think I like this. You're not going to be able to see the pattern because it's just going to be cut at 1 inch. And normally I would put the paper on the chair behind me, but my dog's there. So I had to kind of throw it across the room and try to hit the table. And just to remind myself, this is 1 by 6 1/4. So let me cut some strips of this. So I have 4 strips here, and I cut them. I tried to make them sort of symmetrical, so the ends are going to be this blackish color and the sides are going to be this tan color. And I'm just going to go ahead and, oops, not upside down though, the lid goes like this. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and tape these on all 4 sides and ink them up. Okay, so there we go. There's the outside top lid. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. So we put our postcards in here. Of course, um, because I don't want this tutorial to be too long, I'm not going to decorate the box in front of you. You certainly can do that. You can do exactly what we did for the top here. You can take one of these sheets and put it inside here, which is I think what I'm going to do, and then put your paper around the outsides, and I would suggest putting something on the bottom too to kind of cover up this ugliness. But here's our little box. So adorable. It's so, so adorable. What a cool Happy Mail gift for somebody. The last thing I want to do is I think I have, I like to take my digital kits and my collages that I make and I like to print them on tissue paper. And I think I want to collage on this just a little bit and tear some of this off. Just to make it a little more multi-dimensional. Uh-oh, I can't find a glue stick. There it is. And I love working with any kind of tissue paper because you still, oops, that's okay. It's a collage. We can stick that up there. Because with tissue paper, you don't lose the image underneath. You can still kind of see the color coming through. So it always matches really nicely. Okay. And there we have it. I really love this. Like I said, it's just such a nice, just such a nice gift. So thank you again, Somerset Studio, and I'm looking up the gal's name, Diane Adams, for this awesome idea. I hope you guys all try it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.